Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. You know, XRP has gone from being the most attacked cryptocurrency by the United States government in history to perhaps being the most favored, if you can believe it. Take a look at this headline. XRP price prediction as hedge manager, it means hedge fund manager, says Donald Trump's fund is buying XRP. Now, I will state at the outset of the video, the hedge fund manager being referenced here is Mark Yusko, who has been in crypto for as long as I can remember, and he's certainly considered to be among the most reputable participants in the space. He's very well known, and he, I mean, technically, I can't confirm this, so I'd say technically this is a rumor, but this is coming from somebody who doesn't just say stuff like this. Like, I've listened to, I don't even know how many interviews with him at this point over the years, and I've always found him to be intelligent and insightful, though unfortunately I do have to sadly report he is suffering from XRP derangement syndrome, but more on that a little bit later in the video. But see, as a result of that, he wouldn't just say something that's favorable for XRP if he didn't firmly believe that this is actually the case. So, according to him, XRP absolutely is being purchased by incoming President Donald Trump's fund. And so there's other reasons that you could say that XRP at this point has gone from, you know, being the most attacked cryptocurrency by the United States government to being among the most favored. And that also happens to be apparently, and I do think this is silly admittedly, but happens to be because it was created in the United States. I'll get you caught up to speed. But before going further, I do want to be clear. I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say are right. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby, and just for fun. So, if there's any truth to this, then you know you could see, especially as the years pass, you could see XRP go from being, you know, supremely artificially suppressed price-wise to the whatever the hell the opposite of that is, like chucked into the stratosphere. Moons upon moons of pricing action. Like, it's, if you're talking about this actually happening, if it actually does indeed unfold like that. And so let me share with you, I don't need to read this whole article here. It's from CoinGape. By the way, they have a mistake in here, but you know, it's crypto media. They're all a bunch of C students anyway, so they mess stuff up. Like, they'll type stuff and then they don't even check it, I don't think, half the time, and then they just upload it to the internet. But they cite that the hedge fund manager in question is Scott Melker. That's not true. Scott Welker, aka the Wolf of All Streets, who, by the way, also does not like XRP. Go figure. He's the one that was interviewing Mark Yusko. It's his YouTube channel. Mark Yusko is on as a guest. But anyway, they write the following. So it would be the renowned hedge fund manager, that'd be Mark Yusko, has confirmed that former President Donald Trump is actively acquiring XRP and HBAR tokens. And I have to correct that. It's crypto media. It's a bunch of C students. What he actually said, because I listened to the interview, is that it's Donald Trump's fund that is indeed doing this. And so I guess they thought that that's close enough, but maybe I'm getting a little too nitpicky. You guys tell me. But anyway, it says, this aligns with earlier claims from a source close to Trump's transition team, hinting at a national cryptocurrency reserve. But here's a quote from Yusko. What Trump is doing is buying a bunch of crypto, Bitcoin, XRP, and HBAR for the United States under his entity, end quote. And so he is in the know. He knows all sorts of very famous, well-known individuals in the world of crypto. It's just that you guys tell me, I haven't heard this anywhere else. I haven't heard it from another soul in existence. Now, if there's additional information, let me know. I even did a Google search and I didn't see anything else come up. This is Mark Yusko insisting this. And I've never heard him say something like this. And he's not one to just put out a bunch of silly-ass rumors or anything like that. That would be very uncharacteristic of him. So he's insisting he knows something here very clearly. Now, as far as XRP potentially being favored here, you may have heard, and this is from Trump, and I gotta admit, like, this is kind of silly. So he's talking about United States cryptos being protected, and here's why. There'd be financial incentive because what he wants to do, and we'll see if this comes to pass in any form whatsoever, but it would be the case that, if he gets his way, that any cryptocurrency that's considered a United States cryptocurrency, you wouldn't have to, when you sell it, you wouldn't have to pay capital gains tax. Okay, so I'd love to not pay capital gains tax. If that changed, I would love for that to be the case. But what the hell does that mean, United States crypto? Like, these are decentralized cryptocurrencies that are jurisdictionless. They're adopted the world over. What do you mean So then it's just the case that if people who are United States citizens, they create them, then forever moving forward, that you get to you don't have to, if you're in the United States, you don't have to worry about paying capital gains tax. I don't get the logic in that. I mean, I'd like to not pay tax on sales of XRP, so don't get me wrong, but I don't see how that makes sense, to be honest with you. So if anything comes to pass, I doubt it'll look like that in its final form, because that just seems too absurd to me. If anything, just have like a blanket stance for all cryptos across the board if you're selling them in the United States, because that's where you want to incentivize action in this space in the United States. Well, then do that. That would make a whole lot more sense. But either way, it's just cool to see that XRP has gone from being on one end of the spectrum where it's just getting attacked by government agencies to the opposite end. And as a result of this very pro XRP, administration coming in, and it absolutely is, the idea of these XRP spot ETFs getting approved, I mean, it just seems obvious at this point. It's not going to happen while Biden's still in charge, but at some point, probably in 2025, there will be a number of spot XRP ETFs, which will materially impact the supply and demand dynamics of XRP, which means number go up over the long haul. I don't think that it's going to matter tremendously for this market cycle, but over a span of years and decades, yes, I absolutely believe that will indeed be the case. So there's a couple interviews that I'm going to highlight, and they were shared by Good Morning Crypto. This one, I'm not sure when this one took place. I don't know if it's a little bit older, but it was posted a couple days ago on X by Good Morning Crypto. And so that's him in the top right on the screen here. And so he was having a discussion with Mark Yusko about XRP and how obviously, you can tokenize anything under the sun on the XRP ledger. And it's got a built-in decentralized exchange. And so it was basically getting at this concept of the real-world asset narrative, which is big in 2024, which endlessly cracks me up because we were talking about this in the XRP community in 2017 and before that, before I was even into XRP. It just made sense. Like, why would you not want to be able to, have real estate tokenized? So because it reduces friction. It makes it easier to get in and out of positions. You can eliminate paperwork. It's all seamless. There's transactions that are immutable in the blockchain. There are tons of benefits to all of this, obviously. And so to me, it's always just been a no-brainer. Like I realized that in my earliest of days, and here we are. I've been in this now over 7 years. I'm like, it still makes sense, but the world's catching up finally. And XRP Ledger is getting used for this, and we've seen money market funds by Archex getting tokenized with the help of Ripple. Like that's actually happening. You've got Bitstamp, and I published a video recently about that also. They're launching something that looks like it's going to be in the beginning part of 2025, and they're going to tokenize a bunch of derivatives from traditional finance. So an XRP is required for all of this to work, by the way. By code. To create a new token on the XRP ledger, XRP is literally required, and for every single transaction, XRP is required. So that means that there's utility for XRP, right? If XRP ledger gets adopted for this real-world asset use case, and it has been for a number of years, well, if that sticks and it keeps growing, that just increases the utility for XRP. Obviously, right? And so in this interview, Mark Yusko, he acknowledged that, and he said, quote, "I do believe XRP is one of the competitors vying for this," end quote. And that's what he was referencing. I watched the clip here. He acknowledged that would be actual utility, and XRP Ledger, people are pushing for that use case using it. Unquestionably, that's the case, okay? And there's a reason I highlight this. Then you go over to this one, and this is the one where he was talking about Trump's fund specifically purchasing XRP. Which, if we're going to have favoritism, fine. Let's flip it. Let's do the 180 because I don't like the direction for which there was favoritism and unfavorable perspective about cryptocurrencies in the past for the last several years with the SEC attacking Ripple and ruining our opportunity for life-changing wealth during the last market cycle. So if anything, I prefer an even playing field, to be honest with you. But hey, if they're going to do this, at least it's going to benefit my banks, I guess. But anyway, so there was this is the interview that was being referenced here. That's Scott Melker on the left, Mark Yusko on the right. And I got to say here too, so having followed him for a number of years and listened to so many interviews from him, like I said, he comes off as likable, just rather insightful, highly intelligent. And unfortunately, though, he really does have XRP derangement syndrome. And there are different forms of this. Like some people, they are just absolute pricks, and they will lie about XRP. They will be troll. They have venom in their voice. You can hear it when they speak, and they look down on you if you're into XRP, and they despise you. That's not him. In his case, and so I'm just going to try and diagnose this as best I can, as someone who's, broadly speaking, a fan of this guy. He's just disastrously wrong about XRP. I think that he acquired, unfortunately, XRP derangement syndrome. It might be airborne. It could be airborne. I'm not sure. There's a good chance of that because, he's in this echo chamber where so many people, some of his closest friends and acquaintances, have the same perspective. Like, for instance, here he is with Scott Melker, and he felt comfortable. As you'll see, he said XRP, he said it's an outright scam. More on that in a second. But he's speaking to another XRP hater right there. Mark Yusko of Morgan Creek Digital, right there. That's his firm. That's his hedge fund. He has that firm, and his business partner is Bitcoin maximalist Anthony Pompliano, another very well-known Bitcoin maximalist in the crypto space. And so they all keep parroting these stupid ideas about XRP not making any sense and there being nothing to it, and then they start to believe it. But this is why I'm highlighting this. In that video I just shared, he acknowledged utility without even talking about what Ripple's doing with XRP. He was talking about the real-world asset narrative. He's like, yeah, there's something to that. But what did he say in this interview? Because he has XRP derangement syndrome, and he has for years. I've known this about him for years. He just doesn't like XRP. And it's just he's too intelligent to not get this stuff. Like, he just is. It's just like he doesn't want to know about it. That's what it seems like to me. It warps people's mind. Like XRP derangement syndrome, it warps people's minds. And so anyway, here he quoted, this is a quote from the article, President Trump, quote, is buying a bunch of crypto, Bitcoin, HBAR, XRP, yada, yada. And then he writes here, indicating these projects will most likely be the first to have ETF projects approved in the USA. And so we'd agree with that would make sense. And so Mark Yusko recognizes that there's probably going to be an XRP ETF, which we'd all love to see. But then he said this quote, as much as I hate to say it, and I do hate XRP and Cardano, because there's no there. So think about this. He just acknowledged the there, and by acknowledging that XRP ledger, in his own words, it's going for that actual use case. And XRP, of course, is required. He does know this. Maybe he forgot it here. But when it comes to XRP, he hates it. He absolutely hates it. Because he just doesn't understand how it's useful. And I've seen him say, he does go on, to his credit, he'll go on YouTube channels with pro XRP individuals. So he was on with Tony from the Thinking Crypto channel. And I remember watching something from him like a couple years ago, and I talked about it on my channel at the time because it's just ridiculous. He was like, yeah, it's just XRP, it doesn't really do anything. Maybe if somebody wants to try and convince me how it's got utility, then yeah, that would be great. And I was surprised that Tony didn't push back. I think that was a missed opportunity there. But he just said that, and he still hasn't learned. I'm just sitting here thinking, like, do you have the internet? Have you looked into it at all? Because he researches in depth all sorts of other coins, but you're telling me you can't figure out a single use case for XRP? Except for he does know one. He cited it on his own, unprompted. Or no, actually he was prompted, but still he cited it and agreed. So it's completely ridiculous. There's no there. Oh, okay. Well, if that's the case, why do you think it's in the top 10 coins consistently? Top 10 coins by market cap, because there's only 3 coins that have always been up there, and it's Bitcoin, ETH, and XRP. Those are the only 3 coins out of tens of thousands of coins, and you haven't been curious enough to figure out why that might be. And then he went on to say, there's no developers. Have you heard of Ripple? Have you heard of Wietse Wind? Created Summon? You've not heard of it? There are tons of developers. Now, obviously, as I've cited many times, you would expect any platform that has native smart contract functionality to have way more developers than a chain like XRP that doesn't have smart contract functionality. It's just really good at payments, right? So that shouldn't be surprising. That's fine. But maybe he's exaggerating, and he knows that there's more than, like, there is at least some development activity on the XRP ledger. Maybe he knows that, or maybe he literally meant it and he thinks there's literally nobody developing and building anything. I find it hard to believe, given that he just acknowledged the real world asset narrative. So maybe he was just kind of exaggerating because he's playing to his crowd of, XRP haters. Maybe that's what it was. But he said there's no developers. That's literally what he said in this little talk here with Scott Melker. And so, but even if he would admit that there are some developers there, as I can prove, absolutely. Just his valuation model is just off here. So, saying XRP is a failure, which is what he's getting at here, and he literally said it's a scam too, by the way, which is ridiculous. And let me say something on that before I forget. He said it's a scam literally. If that's the case, how come the SEC, when they sued Ripple, didn't charge them with fraud and did not assert that anything they were doing was a scam? How come that didn't happen? So you know it, you're asserting it's a scam. What is your proof, Mark Yusko, that the SEC couldn't find? Because the SEC threw everything they could at Ripple, including the kitchen sink. But you want to call it a scam, and so that would mean it's a fraud. But the SEC won't do that. What do you know, Mark Yusko? I'm guessing nothing. You just said a thing because you have XRP derangement syndrome. That's what this is. And you're in an echo chamber where you just say that, and then because there's a bunch of toxic Bitcoin maximalists, you get away with it. You get away with saying that stuff. Not here on the Moon Lambo channel, though. But so back to the developer thing, though. So if your expectation is that there should be some absurd amount of developers, even though almost everything that most of them are going to build is going to go away anyway because most ideas are bad, but even if that's your idea, you need more developers, that equals good. Okay, all right. Well, saying XRP is a failure because there aren't enough developers is to miss the value proposition of XRP. You know, you have an incorrect valuation model. XRP is just great for payments. It just works. It's a no-nonsense type of thing. It just consistently works and has for a decade. It does what Bitcoin couldn't do. What it can't do on layer 1. You know, because Satoshi Nakamoto created it as a peer-to-peer cash system, but Bitcoin's too slow and expensive to do that. But XRP actually can. Isn't that useful? Are these attributes that are useful? Or was Satoshi Nakamoto wrong? Because XRP can do that. Did you know that? Maybe your valuation model's wrong, and even just that. Outside of the number of developers working on the XRP ledger, maybe that matters. Have you thought about that one? And so you have the incorrect valuation model. And so you know what it's like? It's like the anti-crypto people. It's just like no-coiners out there, the people who are anti-crypto, crapping on Bitcoin, for example, because, for example, with Bitcoin, you don't get dividends from holding it. That's right. Well, no crap. That's because Bitcoin is not a stock, so you don't get dividends. It's not a stock. It's just, its value is derived from the attributes it offers, right? That's where it comes from. And so your valuation model, no coiners, you anti-crypto folk, your valuation model is wrong if you say, oh, there's no value here. It's just a thing, and there's nothing to it. There's no value. You don't even get dividends or anything. That's because you have a bad valuation model. It's an incorrect valuation model. That's not what makes it valuable. It's the attributes that it has. That's what people find desirable, and that's why money's been flowing into it for like 16 years. I mean, consider it. So, like, you wouldn't walk into a grocery store, pick up a banana, and start screaming that it has no value because it doesn't have developers and doesn't have any dividends. It's a banana. So you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't scream at the banana in a grocery store because that would mean you're using an incorrect valuation model because it's a banana. And also you'd seem like a crazy person. So stop using an incorrect valuation model and talking about developer activity. And there are developers. And also, by the way, just as an aside, it doesn't mean that there will never be smart contract functionality on layer 1. That could happen. In fact, even David Schwartz is talking about how that should happen recently. I covered that in recent months. So it probably will happen at some point anyway. But even the cool thing is, even without that, bam. And so it just makes me think of Tron. Tron is the example I've been going to pretty consistently throughout this year. It's got, it's been in the top 10 coins by market cap recently, which is rare for a coin that, because it was there in 2017, fell out, and then came back. That's the only example I'm aware of where that's the case. And the reason? It's because it has a thriving stablecoin ecosystem, and it has almost no developer activity. It's way less developer activity compared to the XRP ledger, about 0. But so the valuation model, it's not about developer activity. It's about everything else. How does he not get this? And so there's this post by XRP community member Neatsbucks, which I think kind of nailed it here. He writes, in the same interview, Mark Yusko of Morgan Creek Capital says, and he's got this list here, he hates XRP. Brad built a successful scam. Brad is smarter than him. XRP has no value. Trump is buying XRP. XRP will be exempt from capital gains. XRP ledger is vying to be the winner of tokenization. And so then, these are things that he said. These are obviously at odds with one another. And so Neatsbuck says, this contradictory assortment of takes sums up the truly baffling nature of the XRP hater as they watch XRP succeed. That's right. And let's call it what it is, though. It's XRP derangement syndrome. It is the affliction known as XRP derangement syndrome. Otherwise smart people saying the dumbest crap about XRP that just is not correct. And now mind you, he's not being venomous about it, so credit where it's due for Mark Yusko, as much as I can here. He's not being venomous. He's just saying stuff that doesn't make sense. It makes him sound completely absurd. And that's what's happening here. And I think it's because the echo chamber that he lives in. So he's been infected. It might be airborne. It might be airborne. I hope it can't come through microphones and speakers and crap. Otherwise, maybe we're going to be infected. Who knows? We could be. I mean, maybe we're in danger. I don't know. But it's just the fact that he could cite the utility of XRP with real world assets being tokenized, but then to say that it's a scam and it has no value. What are you talking about? These things are at odds with one another. It's just ridiculous. And so somebody named Chief XRP tagged attorney Jeremy Hogan this clip because, again, he's saying that this is a scam, Ripple's a scam, and everything Brad Garlinghouse is doing and all the rest, it's all scam, right? And so Chief XRP tagged attorney Hogan and said, defamation, ? And attorney Hogan responded and said, not really. You can have ignorant opinions and even voice those opinions in public, and that isn't defamation. So attorney Hogan, I'll take his word on that, noting that these are definitely ignorant opinions. You think? Totally agree, attorney Hogan. Absolutely spot on. Isn't this kind of ridiculous? So that's all of this is ridiculous. I wanted to do this takedown because it's just ridiculous. And nothing against him personally. I still like the guy. He does come off as likable. But he's got to stop saying dumb stuff that doesn't make sense. Like, he has to know that this is insane, right? Like there are developers. There's a gigantic community. At some point, he needs to reflect inward after the many years of XRP being in the top 10, even after the SEC lawsuit. He needs to reflect and be intellectually honest, look inward and be like, what do I not understand? Is he asking himself that? I doubt it. What do I not understand? My God, it's just ridiculous. But also on top of that, truly fascinating that he's saying that, Trump's fund is buying XRP. Implications of that could be notable. Could be. You guys tell me what you think. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.